frosted glass.
Woo, gang! Welcome back to another Death Curse Society. Look, we got the gang all here. We didn't think we were going to have it, but we do. I'm Red Crank. We got the Colonel, and we got Zigzag.
Woo! We made it.
Every other week, just for you guys. And we got a lot to talk about in this episode, too, which is going to be a lot of fun. Later on, we're going to be talking about La Casa. Just came out on video on demand from Dread Central. We're going to review that. And we're also going to look at the Wrong Turn trailer and talk about why they're only releasing that in theaters for one day. Kind of makes me nervous. Colonel, what else are we talking about in this episode?
I have a serious question for you. Are you afraid of the dark? Limited series, the second one. Oh, yes, we got a teaser for that coming up. And we'll also be taking a look at the new Nick Cage film, Willy's Wonderland.
What has happened to Nick Cage over the last 10 years?
Tax problems.
Ziggy, what else are we talking about this week?
Apparently, Shudder is releasing 10 films in 10 weeks, and we're going to watch all these motherfuckers. So that's going on today, too.
Absolutely. Before we get into all that good stuff, don't forget to hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media. And man, before you get roofied at a bar and you never know where you're going to wake up, maybe in the woods in Belgium? Yikes. Let's go camping.
I'd rather not.
You're going to Camp Blood, ain't you? You'll never come back again. It's got a death curse.
For Let's Go Camping this time around, we have reviewed the first movie that Shudder has released, Hunted. It just came out last week. It's a foreign film, still in English though, but it tells the tale of a woman who meets a man at a bar, thinks everything is just fine and dandy, and then, of course, everything switches around and she gets trapped out in the woods. The guy that she met and another person are trying to hunt her down and do some pretty horrific things to her. Colonel, what'd you think about your first thoughts on The Hunted?
There's an old saying that says, lead with your best foot forward. If that's what Shudder did, we may be in a long run for these next 10 films. Honestly, the film wasn't that bad. It kind of threw me off hearing all the different English dialects. I understand, it's a global community we all live in now. There's no such thing as, being solitary unless you're North Korea. We're all involved, but you had the main character who's French. You had the guy who, for one, had the best dance moves I've ever seen since Crispin Glover. Like, no wonder why he's able to pick up this chick. I mean, he's doing shit like this.
Those are some good dance moves.
Those are fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Then you had like the convenience store owner that, China's our new overlords and totally fucking American. Like that wasn't a fake. That dude's from like fucking Jersey or something. And then it just started off pretty strong. And it kept me entertained. The guy was probably one of the better villains I've seen in a film for quite some time. And then we took like 4 or 5 left turns, and by the 6th one, I was fucking done. I understand she just wanted her freedom. It's fucking dumb and totally took me out of the movie for the last 15 minutes.
You mean she wanted her...
Oh, freedom!
Thank you for picking up on that one. She just wanted her freedom, bro.
I'm following you right down the line, man, with all the left turns and everything, because it freaked me out a little bit too. Ziggy, initial thoughts on Hunted?
Crank had already seen this movie by the time I was watching it. I was kind of chatting along with him a little bit, here and there going, I was like, dude, I love this killer. This guy is great. You're like, just hold on. And I was like, what could possibly go wrong with what they've built? And two-thirds of this movie is done, and we're in a precarious situation for the heroine. Holy shit. Did they jump the shark into the Grand Canyon cliff and fell into the bottomless pit of what the fuck? What happened? I have to give the spoiler. I have to.
No, wait. Let's get into the spoilers later.
Okay. Initially, I was with Colonel. I went along with this. I was totally into it. And then it does such an abrupt just stop and turn. We have a horror movie stuck in between a fairy tale and like some kind of drama thriller. This is weird. I really thought that the filmmakers completely lost their way. There was too many cooks on this one, obviously, because it resulted in some wackiness at the end of it.
If you don't mind me sharing this, here's the photo Ziggy sent to me 5 minutes after I told him, oh, just wait, it gets weirder. It gets weird. Yeah, exactly. There it is again. There's the look. 2/3 of the movie, solid. And then I don't know what the writers were thinking, because granted, it was like a mix of The Accused, Surviving the Game.
Oh, hold on, Crank. Don't leave out Mother's Day, Last House on the Left. All this is involved in the first 2/3 of this movie.
Right. And even a little bit later on, a little bit of I Spit on Your Grave.
Exactly.
That was the third movie I was trying to think of. So it kind of uses elements of that. And then they're like, man, we got to do something different. Well, you guys did something different, all right. But man, Jesus, that last 30 minutes is rough.
Sometimes originality isn't your best friend.
Whew. Let me, before we get into spoilers, though, let me ask a couple of questions about the movie in general. Besides the red jacket, how was this film really related to Red Riding Hood? I see the guy, and yes, we're calling him the guy because that's what the film calls him. We never get his name. We never learn too much about him except he's fucking wacko. And he is listed in the credits as the guy. He is played by actor
R.E.A. Worthalter.
Yes, and he is just listed as the guy. So that
brilliant.
We call him that. Yeah. Did you get a Red Riding Hood vibe out of this at all, Zigzag?
100%. It was all over the place. Metaphorically. Is that a word? Metaphorically?
Yes.
Okay. That's what it was. It was everywhere. She's obviously got the obvious one with the red jacket, red hooded jacket she's wearing. The big bad wolf is the guy. You run into grandma into woods at some point later. It's there if you look.
Colonel seems to disagree, so I'm going to let Colonel jump in on this. Did you get a Red Riding Hood vibe out of it, or was that just...
Slightly, but majority was just, okay, yes, she wore the red hood. I'm with Zag on that one. The guy is definitely the big bad wolf. Even the grandma, grandma barely, like, that's fucking a reach. But then again, I don't remember no fucking woodsman coming to save this Little Red Riding Hood. She saved herself. Unless you want to count the little fucking weirdo kid. But that is, no.
And I am.
The pursuit kept on going. He didn't end the pursuit. He didn't save Little Red Riding Hood. He just gave her a little bit more of a head start. I can't say more because I've already said too much.
Yeah, what's up with that anyway? What with that whole thread?
What happened to that kid after?
Exactly. What happened to him?
I can kind of see, now that Ziggy has kind of laid it out a little bit, I can kind of see a little bit more of a Red Riding Hood undercurrent to it. Not a whole lot.
It's loose.
It's very loose. And I can even go back to remembering some scenes, the better to hear you with, the better to see you with, where the guy sees her from a distance and is like, even hears her occasionally, like screaming in the woods or something. So
yeah, because the dumb bitch is wearing a bright red hoodie in the fucking forest, man. Anybody could see her. Jesus.
It was, like he said, very loose, but I wanted to get your opinions on that because that's part of the way they're billing this movie. Is it's a take on the Red Riding Hood tale.
Okay, I'm just going to say, okay, this movie is based on Little Red Riding Hood. This is the equivalent of World War Z being loosely based on the Max Brooks book. I think that's the best comparison you can give.
Another question I have for you guys. Was this just another man-hating movie, or was it something different?
To me, it was something different. I never picked up on the vibe of it being a man-hating movie because this is obviously a struggle women had to deal with when they go out, the bars or fucking ever. To me, it was a cautionary tale. Be careful who you keep company with.
Yeah, I agree. These guys do exist out there like this, unfortunately. Not maybe to the degree of this guy, but they definitely are out there assholes that do dumb things like drug women and take advantage and, scumbags. The way they shot this thing, I was really digging it. I was like, wow, he's got some talented eyes. So, and the way they do it, I really dug the shots. As far as man bashing, oh, no, not at all. They're just pointing out something that truly exists. That's the difference.
Right. Lastly, now we're going to get into some of the spoilers. So if you have not seen this movie,
fast forward.
Yeah, we warn you to fast forward right now.
Don't go in there! I know you better get out of my face! Out of my face! Out of my face! This is all me up in here. You handle that.
All right, for the spoiler discussion, as we've kind of alluded to at the very near the end of the movie, there are a lot of weird turns that this story takes. Did the odd moments near the end, were those necessary for the story, or were they overdone? What did you think about them overall, Ziggy? And feel free to talk about them one by one if you want.
Okay, man.
I wanted the paintball.
I'll say the Colonel paintball thing is all yours, baby. I've got one thing. When it happened, I laughed like I haven't laughed in months. I was like, no, they're not going to do this. They're not going to. And then it happened.
They did.
What happened was, see, they do a little kind of a cool switch where the scene's happening. You see Red Riding Hood walking up, and she gets taken out by somebody in, what do they call those? The ghillie suits?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a hunting suit. And you're like, whoa, what happened? And then all of a sudden we see the guy meeting Grandma out in the woods and sweet talking her to bring him back to camp to feed him, help him find his dog he lost. She gets killed kind of cool in the movie with a nice arrow stuck in the ear. Red Riding Hood gets zapped and tied up, and she pulls the knife. She's escaping. She's getting out. The guy notices this, gets the stun gun out, and goes to hit her again. She gets out of the way. He shocks the fucking corpse, right? Thus Frankensteining the corpse, and it gets up and grabs his ass, allowing Red Riding Hood to get away. I was gone. Any chance of this being a successful, memorable tale, you know what it did?
It means buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, because Kansas is going bye-bye.
We were gone, and we weren't coming back. Yeah. And it goes on beyond that.
Like Zag, I got a chuckle out of Frankenstein's monster coming back. I actually laughed my ass off at this next part. This is where I lost it, and I was 100% out of this fucking movie. So the pursuit's still going through the woods until the middle of a fucking paintball battle. This chick gets a fucking paintball right in the face. A blue paintball. She puts it on her face. Goes all William Wallace, starts chasing this motherfucker. And they're still playing the paintball game. I was like, what the fuck? Jesus. I was done. I was fucking done.
I was sitting there going, okay, he's hallucinating, right? What's going on here? And then, yeah, she takes one in the forehead, and you're going, oh, okay, I guess this is real life here. And these guys just continue on and don't bat an eye.
Right. That was the thing that drove me nuts about that scene was the paintball guys were so into their paintball match that they didn't care about the woman. Little Red Riding Hood is right there.
And they just shot her in the fucking face and just was like, get out of the way, bitch. And just
it was an errant shot.
Yeah. And they've got all the headgear and the big jackets and everything to protect them from, feeling hits. And then they just pop this girl in the face and they just, Was the real estate moment another one that took you out of the movie? When they just storm into this guy like, oh, this is a very open kitchen, and boom, there they are, just come crashing through.
Oh, by then it was full on Blazing Saddles, dude. Anything goes. I was ready for it, man. So I was like, yeah, this is fucking great, man. So
fair enough.
I didn't care at that point. I didn't care. I was like, whatever. I wanted to be wowed with ridiculous shit by then.
Exactly. I was out of it. I was not wanting to be wowed by ridiculous shit. I just wanted it to fucking end. Like, literally, I could care less about any of that scene other than I was like, that's nice she made it back to that development she was working on.
I just, it was typical. It was funny because she goes running by the window all bloody and blue, and he's like, he kind of stands in front of the glass,
That was more sitcom
right
style humor that just did not fit the previous 60 minutes of the film to me. If this movie had been sprinkled with comic relief, like, throughout the film, I could see it a lot more. But when they shove it all into like 20 minutes, like Colonel said, it took me out of the film. Colonel's already brought this up. The last question I have about this film is, does this film give you hope or dread for the remaining films that Shudder is going to be releasing over the next 10 weeks?
I said it once, I'll say it again. You're supposed to lead with your best foot forward. If that's the best we have, we're in for a long few weeks. But I'm still hopeful there will be some gems out of this.
I'm thinking one or two of them are going to be pretty good, and the rest are just going to be mediocre to poor.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't exactly hate this movie. I mean, it did make some odd choices down the stretch. I don't think the people at Shudder are complete idiots. I think there'll be some gems in here that we'll get.
Time to rate it then. Zigzag, since you said you didn't quite hate this film, what's your rating on it?
These filmmakers do have a future. This team should probably stick together, but maybe fire the writers or stop smoking hashish at the script meetings. I don't know what happened.
They were on something a lot stronger than hashish to get that kind of script.
Hey, man. Am I driving okay? I think we're parked, man. Oh, shit.
Yeah, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, man. Let's just go 5.5. I'm going to go just above a 5 because it is above average because it is memorable and it's quite good leading up to it. It's very dark and gritty with the guy. The guy is worth it. He's a great personality, a great character, asshole killer, you know. Very calculated and thought out. I really, really dug it. He looks familiar, too. He looks like another American actor, and he does pretty much nail the accent. I'll give him that, too.
Well, okay, let me ask you this then. What would you rate just the first hour of the movie before it goes bonkers?
7.
Colonel, up to you.
Oh my God. I don't know. Well, so like Zach said, this is where I'm torn. I really appreciated the guy as a villain. All the left turns and the bald spot on the back of his head. Hey, the majority of us men go through it. I got tired of seeing it, but towards the end of the film, that was the least of my worries by the time the final credits rolled. See, the first hour, I would give this a solid 6.5. I'm not even going to say it's the best movie I've ever seen, but it was enjoyable. The last 30 minutes, not so much. So I have to give it a 5.
I'm right in the same boat with you guys, basically. Overall, I would give this movie a 5. It's just middle of the road for me. And that's because it starts off strong and then just ends weird. Like these guys, the first part of the movie, I'd give probably a 7. I was impressed with R.A. Worthalter's work in the film. I was impressed with the girls' work in the film. I thought they both were decent characters that played off each other very well, especially with the conflict between the two of them. The film looked beautiful a lot of places. And then, wow.
I do just want to go on record and say one thing that I did notice about all this man bashing and everything. Mm-hmm. She did make the first move.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
So what are you trying to say? She asked for it because she made the first move?
Oh! And on that note, that's going to wrap it up for Let's Go Camping. We're going to take a quick break before we get people pissed off at us, and we'll be back right after this. Stick around.
It wouldn't be the first time people did.
I'm going to go now. You got a big surprise coming to you. You're not going anywhere.
The Death Curse Society has just become an associate producer on the film.
Yes.
Bravo. Bravo. Death Curse Society, guys, is so awesome. I met the guys, all 3 of the guys, at Indianapolis last year for Horror Hound. And I met those dudes, and I got to tell you, like, I hung out with them. We took pictures. I signed some stuff. They gave me a T-shirt. It was awesome. They are awesome guys. So super cool. I am so glad to have them on board this campaign and also on board the film. And now they are going to be IMDb credited as producers on this movie.
I'll tell you what, Ski King. Why don't you just take your mama home some chicken, and then I won't have to stuff my boot all up in your ass. Fuck your mama. Fuck your sister. Fuck your grandma. Most of all, fuck you.
Hey everybody, you're watching Death Curse Society. That's why you can see me.
Welcome back to Death Curse Society, guys. We got a lot to talk about in a short amount of time. That's why we like to call this segment Stories Around the Campfire.
Ooh. I don't want to scare anyone, but I'm going to give it to you straight about Jason.
Hey, come back!
First up on Stories Around the Campfire, we did check out the new movie from our friends at Dread Central, La Casa. It's not really a new movie, though. You've probably been able to find it on some video-on-demand providers in the past, but it's officially making its Dread Central release right now, called La Casa, available on video-on-demand right now. Ziggy, what'd you think of La Casa?
The House. For all you American idiots out there, La Casa. Now listen, you've seen this movie already a dozen times. Found footage style, into a haunted house scenario. This one's good though, man. It kind of plays like an episode of Cops, and the shots, there's not many edits. It's very, very freaky. Very well done for a found footage film, and kept me on edge almost throughout. It is pretty well done. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Nice. I thought this movie was, at first, I know, did you watch it with subtitles?
Yes.
Okay. Did your subtitles work?
Yes.
Okay. Mine were iffy. Like the first 10 minutes of the movie barely had any. So I don't know if that was something on my end or what, but the only bad thing was you didn't have an option of watching it through the video-on-demand service, or at least the one I watched it with subtitles. I had to do the subtitles through my TV, I believe. So maybe that was the issue. Well, the subtitles didn't seem to work for me, but honestly, they're almost unnecessary. This film is set in 1986 in Quinta Normal, Chile, and is kind of based on true events around this house. The vibe of the overall film kind of reminded me of Hell House, LLC, a lot, with the fact that you'd be looking at one person walking through a hallway, the camera would move for a minute, and then it would come back and there'd be something behind that person. The character misses completely. There's a lot of that kind of camera trickery going on. And as Ziggy alluded to, the film is supposed to kind of play out as just one long tracking shot the entire way. There are a few places where you can tell they cut, but it's very few and in between. It's very well put together. The use of those long tracking shots kind of added to the realism in a way, and definitely the tension. The cinematography was very well done, and the film uses a few very basic filmmaking tricks that don't take you out of the story, but help immerse you into it. Another thing I'll say, and Ziggy, correct me if I'm wrong, but with the music in this movie, the music it reminded me of Escape from New York's soundtrack a little bit. Did you get that at all?
It's a very pulsating, droning kind of soundtrack. It's not quite Carpenter, but it's in that vein. It does get a little wacky at the end too, though.
But it starts out with those tones, and then you've got the melody laid over it, like a lot like Carpenter does many of his works, but it especially reminded me of Escape from New York for some reason.
It's effective because there's really nothing being said when he's walking through these houses.
Right.
His house, he's in there and he keeps getting chances to get out too. There is another story going on behind it that kind of reveals itself at the end. And it all makes sense. Was that necessary, you think?
At the beginning of the movie, I think when you first meet this character, you realize that something's going on in his life. He's in a sad state of affairs for a moment. Now, I think the reason they added that as a story thing was to show you how broken that character was.
I get it. I do get it. But, I don't know. I guess I was a little bit let down with that choice. I'll go there.
If you go back and think about the haunted house stories that you've watched, they all involve like severely broken people, or they involve people that are on a downward spiral when they get there. And I think that's where this wanted to kind of go. In my opinion, if you're just a happy-go-lucky, everything's fine in the world, and you go into a haunted house, very little is going to happen to you. But if you're emotionally exposed and broken, then you're going to see some fucked up shit.
Now, see, they also put a little backstory of the house, just a just a little bit of it, man. And it does play out later in the movie. It had really nothing to do with the legend of the house at that point. Would you agree with that?
Yes, but many people that watch this will know that this is based on a true location in Chile. there have been investigations there, which at the end of the movie, you see snippets of some of them.
2018, there was one with some shit that happens right in the credits. I mean, it was like, oh, there you go.
And one of the things I like about this movie was, a lot of movies are, when they're shot, it takes 40 days. They have a 40-day shooting schedule, 60-day shooting schedule. This movie was shot in 3 nights, 3 overnights at this location, basically. That's impressive as shit. I mean, hell, we have a hard time putting together an hour episode just based on a 2.5 or 3 hour recording session sometimes. So for them to be able to do 2 hours of that kind of filmmaking in 3 nights, damn impressive. I need to say, Colonel didn't get a chance to watch this one yet. We're really encouraging him, but that's why he's not saying anything right now. I'm not just ignoring him. I'm not being a dick.
Yes, he is.
I'm being a dick, but that's general. Anyway, I wanted to point that out in case anyone was wondering. Ziggy, what would you give this a rating for La Casa?
Everybody's always asking for a scary movie. I don't know if this is going to satisfy every itch you have there, but this is a scary movie. It's pretty good. I'm going to give this one a 7.5. I liked it.
I'm going to regret this later on, but dude, I really enjoyed this movie. I damn near bought this movie immediately after I watched it, but I know it's coming out on Blu-ray in like a month from Dread Central. I'm going to wait for the Blu-ray release because hopefully they'll put their own fucking subtitles on it and I'll be able to actually see the entire dialogue. Now, there's not a whole lot of dialogue. Majority of the dialogue after the first 10 minutes is just the house telling the cop to get out. And that's about it. And the cop talking to his station over a walkie-talkie. By the way, if a house tells you to get out, get the fuck out. Don't keep going upstairs.
It's one of your better haunted house movies to come along down the pike in a couple of years. So take our recommendation and enjoy a good scary movie.
As for a rating, I'm going to regret this, but I'm going to give this an 8. And the only reason I say I'm going to regret this is later on, at the end of this year, when we're compiling our best of 2021s, like this year, 8s were all of mine, except for 1 9. But dude, I dug this movie a lot. I really, really did. Colonel, you're missing out, God damn it. So La Casa is available on video on demand right now at your favorite outlet. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Next up on Stories Around the Campfire, we're going to look at the trailer for Wrong Turn. A reboot, remake, sequel? I don't even think they know. Check this out and we'll talk about it afterwards.
You know what we wouldn't have found if we would have stayed on the trail?
What is that?
I saw someone. I saw someone.
It's a story people here know but don't talk about, except in whispers. Anyone who goes up there.
What is this place?
Guys! They don't come back.
Descendants of these people are still living up there on the mountain?
So that's the trailer for Wrong Turn. It was in theaters for 1 night. Well, some theaters. A couple days ago, January 26th. But it is coming out on video on demand in about a month. I believe on February 26th. Ziggy, what did you think of this trailer?
I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the Wrong Turn series. And, I get it. They probably updated the look of the mutants and the freaks a little bit, the inbreds, whatever they are. This looks like the same thing to me, really, honestly. And I'll check it out, but I low expectations. I'm not expecting them to blow my socks off at all.
Colonel, what about you? And I think you disagree with Ziggy on something there.
I do to an extent. Just thoughts on the trailer. I thought it could be entertaining. Granted, I'm not the biggest fan of the Wrong Turn series, but I do own them all. It's hard to pass up an entire collection of movies for fucking $8. All right, that's why I own all the Wrong Turn movies. I'll be honest. I couldn't pass up down that deal. That being said, we'll let you guys know, outside the Cincinnati area where this was filmed, we do not have mountains like that. Hey, bursty bubble, we're not going to see mountains out here. Granted, we are close enough to Appalachia. That is kind of scary because I do see those type of people from time to time. But I'm getting full-blown reboot vibe from this. I think that it's no longer inbreds, people from the original. To me, it's kind of like you have these people kind of like their own religion, their own system, live in these mountains. Yeah, I'll watch it. Expectations are pretty fucking low, but hey, this film locally, I gotta watch it.
I too get that same feeling from the antagonists in this film based on the little bit that we did see of them. This almost feels like a caveman, prehistoric kind of militia off in the woods somewhere. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be the inbred hillbillies anymore. I think there's some kind of social commentary that comes along with this. I'm not quite sure. I feel something there about that. Alan McElroy, though, does return as a writer. Does that inspire you at all? He was the creator of the series, the first one.
Not at all. No, like I said, the original one was okay. The second one was okay, and they just got worse from there.
Let's be honest. The best thing about the first one was Elijah Dushku.
Yeah, and the best one about the second one was Henry fucking Rollins.
Right. Ziggy, does the return of McElroy as the writer to this excite you at all?
No, because again, I'm not a huge fan of the material anyway, and whatever. If they're inbreds, mutants, cultists, whatever they are. The good thing about these movies is they can always surprise you with violence and gore, and if they bring that on, you'll have me on as a fan for sure.
Releasing for one day in the theater, a Tuesday. January is not traditionally a great release date for any film. A one-day release is normally a worse sign that this movie is destined to become a failure. Are there really that many huge fans of the Wrong Turn series, Colonel?
I don't think so, but they might be genius for doing this at the same time. And here's why. There's nothing to be released in the theaters right now. They release it for this one day, and if enough people go see it, we get it on the back of that cover art. The number one movie in America. 2, because a lot of people probably don't even know this movie's even coming to the theaters for one fucking day.
Wow.
Like, watch Wrong Turn on demand, blah, 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 the number one movie in America. What?
The hollow claim.
Yeah, it is a hollow claim.
Well, that's like that independent film company that rented out a theater during the pandemic, showed their theater, charged their buddies like $20 a piece to come in and see this movie, and had the number one movie in America. Pretty hollow, as Zigzag said. I could honestly care less about the Wrong Turn series. I saw the first 2. I started watching the third one at one point, I do remember. And no, it's just not my thing. If I want fucked up hillbillies, backwoods, stalkers, and killers, I'm going to watch The Hills Have Eyes. That's the deal. It'll be on video on demand soon enough, February 26th. Check it out. Wrong Turn. You let us know. Reboot? Sequel? Do you even care? Because I don't. Next up, we got another trailer to show you. It's the trailer for Nickelodeon's. Yes, we're going to cover it. Are You Afraid of the Dark Season 2? You know why we're going to cover it? Because the first season wasn't all that bad. The second reason we're going to cover it is because Colonel loved the original Are You Afraid of the Dark. Check this trailer out. We'll get Colonel's thoughts here in a second.
Dude, you have to come see this.
This is not a good idea.
What's the matter? Are you afraid of the dark?
Have you heard from Connor?
No. Should I have?
No one's seen him all day. He's a leader of the Midnight Society. He would never bail on us like this. What is that?
Maybe it's a shadow, and it's following him in every single photo.
I'm not afraid of you!
I have to find out what happened to Connor.
Once you enter the haunted woods, you cross into the Shadow Man's domain, and an unspeakable curse will fall upon you.
Scared, Seth?
No. Maybe just a little bit.
Are we sure about this?
Anyone want to back out?
Did you guys hear that?
Sure, let's go toward the ghost. It's a good idea. Spirits high, spirits low. Protect me from this wicked foe.
What's happening? The man is following me!
Somebody's watching.
We have to go now.
Come on, let's go! Hannah, we said door open. We're trying to break an evil curse that's threatening our lives, Mom. Just do it with the door open.
So Are You Afraid of the Dark Season 2 drops on Nickelodeon February 12th. Colonel, you ready?
So it looks interesting. I'll be honest. It's not like I really recognize any of these kids from the first season. I think they're all gone.
I think it's a new story entirely.
Yeah, but they're talking about the Midnight Society. Oh, who's the leader of the Midnight Society? For one, if he was a true leader of the Midnight Society, your ass won't get kidnapped by ghosts. Okay? We all know that from the 90s. Two, the story's never crossed into reality in the 90s. So this is still a new take for me trying to get used to it. Three, what happened to the fat kid from It? I understand he probably lost his baby weight and he's probably not so fat anymore. But he was like your big star. That was your draw for the first season. Mm-hmm. And he's gone already. So unfortunately, my streaming provider dropped CBS. So unfortunately, I had to get CBS All Access before it changes to Paramount Plus. So hopefully it's on there since I have Nickelodeon on that shit.
Mm.
If it is, I'll be able to have a chance to watch it. If not, it's kind of going to wait until it gets released on DVD so I can buy it. Just also, I want to say this. Yeah, it debuts February 12th. I'm pretty sure February 12th I'll be watching the Valentine's Day special of Joe Bob's Last Drive-In on Shudder instead.
That's very possible. I cannot expect you to be watching anything else on that day, honestly. This one is subtitled Curse of the Shadows, and it takes place in a seaside town that is haunted by the Shadow Man. I enjoyed the first season of the reboot. I thought it was pretty well done. The whole carnival aspect and the evils behind the carnival trying to get the kids. I thought that was a clever story, although it's been done before. So hopefully season 2 keeps the momentum up with a whole new tale. Ziggy, what did you think of this one?
You know, it's not really for me, but I am all for it because these are the kind of things that get the kids introduced into the stuff that maybe you can share with them later. They can get them in, you know, it's the lower tier. It's the entry level horror. Mm-hmm. All right, man. It's got merit for that. So, you know, but not for me. But okay. Yeah, my son could probably love the hell out of it.
Yeah, I like this because, like you said, it's entry-level horror for a younger audience. And if that brings a younger audience to experience, you know, a Friday the 13th or a Nightmare on Elm Street series a little bit later, sure, why not? So, or even to go back and watch the old Are You Afraid of the Darks, which Colonel loves.
I do love them. And this is another thing that disappoints me about this second season of the reboot. Not really a big disappointment, but man, where's the kid with the bowl cuts and the windbreakers? All right. That was the thing back in the early 90s. I'll admit it. I had a bowl cut and windbreaker, you know, the starter jacket.
It's not the 90s anymore, man.
I know.
We need a picture of this right now.
This is one we probably won't revisit again, but let us know if you enjoy it. Are You Afraid of the Dark Season 2 starts February 12th.
Right after Joe Bob breaks.
One final trailer for you guys to check out right now. I'm not even sure what to classify this, so Willy's Wonderland.
Welcome to Willy's Wonderland. Spend the night cleaning Willy's Wonderland, and I will pay to have your car fixed. Deal? You are officially on staff. Let's get the hell out of here. I can't stand to hear a grown man scream.
This place has a dark history. I know the bullshit story they told you. It's a lie. You're here to be a human sacrifice. Have you been listening to a word I've been saying? He's gonna die in here, but he won't listen to me.
The machines got out. Nobody is safe. Put your balls on, Evan. We're going to Willy's.
He's not trapped in here with them. They're trapped in here with him.
It's your birthday, and we want you to have fun. It's your birthday, so let's party. It's birthday time.
I enjoy a man of few words.
Willy's Wonderland. It's available February 12th on demand. Oh, man.
It's so fucking weird seeing Nicolas Cage in roles like this, man. I can't get over it. Each one is fucking weirder than the next. And yet there he is, bigger than life.
In all his glory.
And now taking on Chuck E. Cheese fucking mannequins. Although we do know that this was initially supposed to be called Five Nights at Freddy's. It is based on that whole thing. Again, this is yet the second film, Banana Splits being the first one. Based on the Five Nights at Freddy's, where the Pizza Time Theater with all the fun during the day comes to life at night and tries to whatever. This one seems to have a sacrifice theme to it, but they've picked the wrong fucking guy this time. Nicolas Cage, hey. Looks good. This is going to be like dumb like Machete or one of those kind of movies, but I think it's going to be super entertaining for some reason. I really do.
Well, about Nick Cage, luckily it doesn't look like he has a whole lot of lines in this movie except for screaming and grunting. So that's a good thing. Obviously, my expectations are very, very low on this. But I might be surprised because I really did enjoy the Banana Splits movie. I thought that was fun and well done. Colonel, Willy's Wonderland, what do you think?
I'm with you guys. I'm kind of like, what? Again, seen this already with the Banana Splits movie. Obviously, not the same exact story. And it has Nick Cage in it, so it's promising. I'll watch it. Has to be entertaining. Nick Cage doing the best Nick Cage impersonation I've seen so far. He does a hell of a job wiping down those counters. So, see if he does a hell of a job taking out those robots.
I don't know, man. I'm kind of disturbed that Colonel calls this a promising Nick Cage movie in some ways, you know, or the promising Nick Cage.
It is, because that's all he makes anymore is this shit. This is the Nick Cage has ever looked until the next film comes out in 3 months.
Dude, I used to really like Nick Cage, and I don't know, like I asked in the beginning of the show, I don't know what's gotten into him, you know, besides possibly, like you said, the tax troubles, but holy shit. I also dug him in one of the few serious roles he ever did, Leaving Las Vegas. I thought he was amazing in Leaving Las Vegas. Granted, a sad fucking film. I mean, it's a fucking heart punch, but his performance is top notch, man. Nicolas Cage has the potential to do good acting, but then he chooses to do this kind of shit.
Because he could be the Nick Cageiest version of Nick Cage. Let's be honest. His facial expressions are made for these cheap, low-budget fucking movies. That's what people are looking for.
But even, you know, calling it the Nick Cageiest role that Nick Cage could do, it's gotten overplayed, man. They've been saying that for 5-10 years now.
I know, and he keeps doing it, so it is still valid.
I have a hard time with Nick Cage anymore. I can't take him seriously, and I assume that's part of it, but it's a very hard watch. I will watch it, but I'm going to have heartburn the entire time I'm watching it. I just know. Willy's Wonderland, available on demand February 12th. Check it out. Let us know what you think. And do not send your Nick Cage fan letters our way. Finally, on Stories Around the Campfire, like we mentioned earlier, Shudder, man, they're just taking the ball and running because theaters are fucked up right now. There's not anything good coming out in the theater for a couple of months at least. Shudder is taking the ball and running with it by releasing 10 movies in the next 9 weeks. Hopefully some of these are good. Colonel, talk to us a little bit about this.
Kudos to Shudder for doing this because they are bringing us films from all over the place. I mean, we got a bunch of international films coming in, film festivals, all the independents coming in and show us. So we have new horde to look forward to. This is nice. We got some originals, some exclusives. Oh, I'm not expecting the best, but I'm hoping for not the worst. Like I said, these gentlemen have films they're looking forward to. Based on the titles, yeah, some sound cool, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I just want to enjoy each film as they come, and we'll see. I'm trying to stay even keeled on this, but again, kudos to Shudder for giving us horror fans something to look forward to, because we have nothing going on right now as far as the theaters go.
Approximately every week, we're going to have a new movie put out by Shudder for the next 9 weeks, which is very nice. One of those weeks, we get 2. That's pretty cool. I think it's just another reason to subscribe to Shudder if you guys are not already. Ziggy?
Clearly, if you're not on Shudder yet, I mean, what are you waiting for, man? These guys aren't going anywhere. They're going to be the staple for subscription horror as far as apps go and everything. So get on, man. So yeah, Shudder's given us 10 movies in 9 weeks, and that's cool. And Colonel got it right. We're getting a lot of submissions from all over the place, and this stinks a lot to me like the Movies to Die For from a few years ago, the Horror Fest thing they kind of had. It was like a series of movies. They would release 8 movies every year, and you could go see them discounted. They were like usually $5 or something like that. All of them weren't great. There was a couple of memorable ones in there, but I think The Grave Dancers ended up being one of those, probably the most famous from that whole few years of movies that they ran. But here we are, Shudder, giving us some brand new stuff. We got the first one with Hunted, and you got our thoughts on that one already. Hopefully we got better things lying ahead. A couple that really stuck out to me on the list was Don't Go in the Fucking Attic.
Yes.
Title sounds good, but it sounds like it's a Victorian. They're trying to clear it out, some movers or something, and something doesn't want them to. Right. All I need to know. The other one that stood out to me was called Shook, which involves a stalker, a celebrity, and threats to the celebrity's loved ones. Sounds interesting. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there had to be one that just made you go, huh? And this particular movie happens to be Slacks. I'm intrigued, and I definitely will watch it, but I fail to see how a possessed pair of pants could be fucking scary. It's just me.
Can you imagine the person that is in charge of writing synopsis for different films and stuff, and he's like, all right, what do we got here? Oh, yeah, this one looks good. Shook? Yeah, I can write something about that. All right, what's this one? Slacks.
And right there, they make that face I made earlier when I was watching Hunted.
Right. Really? Really? Hold on. This can't be right. Is it? Yeah. Slacks. Pants? Okay.
You know, who knows, man? Maybe this will be the fucking pick of the bunch. But I man, how could it? How could it possibly be any good unless it's complete dark comedy at this point? That's the only thing I could see it. Dark comedy horror is the only way we could go with this, where it could somewhat be redeeming and maybe entertaining.
Well, you definitely nailed the one that I'm least anticipating, is that Slacks. Well, one that you didn't mention, Ziggy, that I'm kind of looking forward to is A Nightmare Wakes, which is coming out here in just a couple of weeks. It's inspired by Mary and Percy Shelley's relationship, and also by the novel Frankenstein when she was writing that. So I'm curious to see that. I love that gothic, old school, take me back in time. I'm ready. I want to see that shit. For the rest of you, if you haven't read the article or you haven't seen a whole lot about it, check out these. Here's some titles coming from Shudder and the next few weeks. All right, gang, that's going to wrap it up for Stories Around the Campfire and the show. Colonel, send them out for the night.
What you may not know is that every Monday night on YouTube Live as well as Facebook Live, we have a little show we call Monday Maniacs. So it's a great show where we get together and we give our top 5 for topics. And this coming up Monday, top 5 of 1991. Should be interesting. Be sure to tune in, bring your list, join the conversation. It's a lot of fun.
All right, Ziggy.
You want to stay connected. We want to get connected with you. Do it at deathcursesociety.com. It's all there, man. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and especially YouTube, where you subscribe and hit that notification bell and get all this stuff served right to you the first time, every time. That's how we do it. And guess what? We got big changes, a whole redesign coming to the site. It's awesome. You're not going to want to miss it. It's deathcursesociety.com.
Also, one way that you can help support the show is by buying one of our 2 available t-shirts. We have the original DCS logo tee, and we also have our special edition Loomis, Death Has Come to Your Little Town tee. These are both available for $20 each. For sizes small through extra large, size 2X and up are $25, but that handles free shipping, folks. So if you would like one of these shirts, go visit paypal.me/zigzagisdcs. Send your size, your address, what style shirt you want, and then, of course, money. And Zigzag will ship that shirt out to you ASAP. Our next episode will be February 11th. We are going to review the next 2 movies that Shudder is releasing. We're going to review Queen of Black Magic and A Nightmare Wakes. So stay tuned for that. For the Zigzag, for the Colonel, this is Red Crank saying thank you guys, as always, for watching. We can't wait to show you what we have coming up soon. Stay tuned for all that. And woo! We'll see you next time.
What?
Woo?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just woo.
The internet. It's a... All right.
But no,
REA Worthalter.
I may be
REA.
Go ahead.
REA Worthalter. REA Araya AREARIEH.
I'm just an ignorant American man. I don't know how.
REA sounds about right. REA.
REA, I'll say. REA Worthalter. Worthalter. I'll just leave this page open. How about that?
There we go. He's played by actor
REA Worthampton.
Worthalter.
Worthalter. REA Worthalter.
Oh, shit.
All right, guys, might as well take a drink too.
Colonel, ladies and gentlemen.
The Colonel taking a drink.